please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
Now, in an exclusive conversation with Shireen Bhan, he also talks about the government's plan for reviving the sector. Here's an excerpt of that very interesting conversation.
As you know well, and I think everybody who's been following the airline industry for some time knows, the industry is very cyclical and it's driven by 2 or 3 factors. One, of course, is yields, that is, what the pricing is. The other is oil prices, interest rates, and then, of course, the currency. So right now we have a situation where interest rates, the currency and oil prices are heading in the negative direction for the airline industry, and as a result of that we are going through a classic cyclical downturn for the airline industry. Now, as far as the government is concerned, as far as our role as policymakers are concerned, we are working hard to be able to provide a supportive policy environment for the industry so that people can get through this downturn well and in a healthy fashion. Of course, we have a situation in the industry where we have, particularly as far as domestic travel is concerned, a wide separation in terms of the full service carriers and the low-cost carriers. The low-cost carriers obviously have a much superior cost position relative to the full service carriers. The full service carriers try to make it up with better service, with the frequent flyer programs, with the international travel. So it is, of course, a very intense competitive battle, and in that competitive battle, of course, the full service carriers have not been able to maintain their profitability as they had in the past. So we have to see how all of this plays out. Again, as I said, industry conditions, of course, are going through a cyclical downturn, and at the same time we have this competitive battle going on between the full service carriers and the low-cost carriers as well.
You're absolutely right, because yields also continue to be on a downward trajectory, and we are now seeing interest costs, the currency depreciate, and oil prices surge. Given that, what is the government's plan of action? Is there anything that you can do beyond trying to engage with the GST Council on ATF, which has been a long-standing demand, but we haven't seen any forward movement? So what can the government do to provide any kind of relief to the sector?
As you know, Shireen, the Petroleum Ministry and the Ministry of Civil Aviation has recommended multiple times to the GST Council, which includes not just the central government but all the state governments, and where all decisions are done on a consensus basis, that aviation turbine fuel should be included in GST and that full input credit should be given for goods and services. So we have petitioned to the GST Council multiple times. We are hopeful that at some point they will recognize that we should, of course, do that for the industry, and that will obviously benefit the industry as well. Growth is very strong. The demand for air travel among our traveling public is very high, and of course, a lot of capacity is coming into the system because of the large order books that our airlines have right now. So with capacity coming in, demand continuing to be very strong, we are seeing that fares and yields as a result of that have not gone up either. So it's a very intensely competitive environment. It is very, very competitive for everyone right now, but it is really up to each of the individual players to be able to figure out through this very difficult competitive environment what their strategy should be.
Since you're talking about individual players traversing these difficult times, let me ask you specifically about Jet Airways. Have you had any conversation with the management of Jet Airways on the current situation? We understand that there are multiple probes on, that is what reports suggest, whether it's the Income Tax Department or it's even the Ministry of Corporate Affairs looking into the company's affairs. What is the update that you can give us with respect to the government taking cognizance of the affairs at Jet Airways?
Those matters are handled by different departments of the government, different ministries of the government, so I can't speak to that. I personally have not had any conversations with Jet Airways. They have met with officials in the ministry, and again, as I said, the goal of the ministry is to be able to create a supportive policy environment for all the industry players.